What is going on, New York Giants fans? D. Illa here. I wanted to come out in this video and talk more about the Giants potentially getting Mathew Stafford. The short that I made a few days ago, I said that I felt as though it was a little far-fetched, but there's a lot of articles coming out, and there seems like there's a lot of smoke around this. And where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, me personally, I don't think this is a very good idea. This reminds me of something that the Washington Redskins used to do constantly with veteran players. The Redskins would always bring on these aging vets, hoping to get more out of them, and it would never work out. The Redskins were literally the home of the aging vet. But the addition of Mathew Stafford kind of intrigues me. I'm not going to lie. Now, I do believe Mathew Stafford can still play this game. You look at what he did with the Los Angeles Rams last year. You know, Puka Nacua missed the first half of the season. Puka played the first game, re-injured that knee injury that he had in training camp. And, you know, Cooper Kupp really stepped up in his absence, but in the second half of the year, Cooper Kupp completely disappeared. He did his best Stephon Diggs impression. And then, you know, Puka stepped up, Stafford stepped up, Kyren Williams continued to play well coming out of the backfield for them. But other than that, they didn't really have much except for like DeMarcus Robinson. Tyler Higbee was injured. They had other guys like Tutu Atwell kind of step up here and there. But Stafford really wasn't working with much outside of Puka Nacua on that team and Kyren Williams. And he still managed to get that team to the playoffs. So there's no doubt in my mind that Stafford can still play this game. This is why this intrigues me. So this is how I would approach this. If the Giants bring on Mathew Stafford, I believe he's owed $23 million in 2025. He has one more year left on his contract, so he can play through 2026, which is basically up to the point I think he'll play. I don't think you'll have to sign him to a new contract, rework a deal. I don't think any of that will have to take place, man. He's at the end of his career. I think he would just play out his contract. And when you think about the value that you're getting with Mathew Stafford, you know, it's been reported that Sam Darnold is supposed to sign for anywhere around $25 million per season. So if you're getting Stafford at 23, you know, that's a hell of a deal regardless if he's 37 or not. I don't know if these numbers are completely accurate, so I'm just kind of shooting at the hip on this, okay? So let's say worst case scenario, the Giants give up a second round pick to bring on Mathew Stafford. And I know when I say that, everybody's ears perk up and they're like, ain't no way in hell we're giving up a second round pick. If it was up to me, I wouldn't give up more than a fourth, third at best. But let's say the Giants make the ultimate sacrifice and they give up a second. They ain't giving up the first. They ain't giving up number 3. That ain't happening. So we now have Stafford on our roster, and we're paying him $23 million to play for us in 2025. We head into the draft and have pick number 3. What I'm going to say next is going to completely revolve around what the New England Patriots do in the 2025 offseason leading up to the draft. If they don't get their hands on a free agent wide receiver like Chris Godwin or T. Higgins, mainly T. Higgins, I believe he is their main target. None of this can take place. Because if they don't get one of those guys, I do believe they are drafting this player at pick number 4. So if the Giants are sitting there at 3 and Shador is still on the board, Travis Hunter is gone, they can no longer take Travis Hunter. They're sitting there at 3 staring at Shador Sanders. The Vegas Raiders are at 6. This is when I think you could start to entertain the idea of making a trade with the Raiders. For them to come up to 3 to take Shador Sanders. Now what it would take for them to move from 6 to 3, I don't know, but it's not going to be cheap. But I can assure you, you're going to get whatever you spend on Mathew Stafford back, plus some. If the Patriots get their hands on T. Higgins, I think that takes their focus away from the wide receiver position. And I don't think Jacksonville is going to take a wide receiver at 5. Trevor Lawrence needs a ton of help on that offensive line. They drafted Brian Thomas Jr. last year. Christian Kirk is still there. Evan Ingram's still there. Travis Etienne's a good pass catcher coming out of the backfield. They need offensive line help. We need offensive line help too, I know, amongst an array of other things. If we make that trade with the Raiders and we go down to 6, I believe the player that we target is Todd McMillan. And we pair him up with Malik Neighbors heading into 2025. And we let Stafford see what he can do with these two, along with whatever else we do in the 2025 draft. We build our team for the future from the second round pick going forward, with all of our draft capital intact. I do believe there's a way we can make this work. Now, will it result in anything in the end? Probably not, but I think it would make for a very entertaining season for a lot of us New York Giants fans. Hell of a lot better than what we've been watching over the past, God only knows how many years. McMillan gives you a red zone threat, a big body wide receiver that has a lot of speed. You know, people may knock him for his separation issues. I don't think that's going to be a problem at the NFL level. This is a big dude that can move extremely fast. Like, if he's 3/4 of what Mike Evans is, sign me up for that right now. I'll take that for a good 6 to 7 years out of our number 2 wide receiver. That's paired along with Malik Neighbors. This whole entire offense as a whole could be completely revamped. This running back class is stacked. the tight end class is stacked. And I get that we just drafted Theo Johnson last year, but man, I'm telling you, if you avoid the talent that's in this tight end class, I think you're making a big mistake. You could run a lot of 2 tight end sets with Theo Johnson in your new addition, and just imagine having Malik Neighbors on the outside, along with big 6'5" Todd McMillan on the other side of the field. I think you could do a hell of a lot with that with Mathew Stafford. Now, we need to bring in some offensive linemen. We've got other picks. Maybe we can make something happen, man. Maybe some luck will swing in our direction. Think about the Philadelphia Eagles last year and their secondary. Just remember how bad that secondary was. And that was one of the main reasons I didn't think they would do what they did this year, was because of the secondary. I didn't think it would come together as quickly as it did. And like I said, the running back class is stacked as well. So think about last year during the offseason when all the Saquon Barkley controversy was going on, us trying to re-sign him, and it didn't take place. You know, these scouts, these GMs, they know what's coming down the pipeline in these drafts. Maybe they knew the 2025 draft class was going to be stockpiled with good running backs. Maybe not Saquon Barkley caliber running backs, but guys that can get you solid production, especially in the later rounds. And they would be much less of a burden on a rookie deal when it comes to our cap. I got a feeling if we do look to add to the running back position, even though we drafted Tyrone Tracy last year, he did have issues hanging on to the football. So that could be a problem down the road. Maybe they look to somebody else. If we do decide to go that route, we're going to get our hands on a running back that is going to take some of the pain away from losing Saquon Barkley. Not all of it, but I think it's going to chip away at it a bit.